Very good example of the connecting. Immortal actually has a more stable connection than Blaze. Very impressive. I'm glad, to say the least.
That is very rare. Oh, Blaze using a combining technique.
Yes. So, assuming Blaze points in the right direction, then Immortal won't be capable of dealing damage through the shields. And Blaze can fire using the missiles around the rock. The clipping technique to get a very narrow profile and not a good position. I think he's in range.
Ooh. Oh, he turned well.
Almost bad. And if he can reload the rails fast enough, would be bad. Immortal should probably be holding his rail fire in case the opponent makes another overturn mistake. Because, like, they'll just bounce off of the shields as is. Now the nukes come into play, presumably.
Oh, that could have been very devastating, but seems like they're missing. Never mind. Yep, actually they did.
Yeah, it's very difficult to aim nukes properly, and even if you do aim them properly, oh well, just
Ooh.
shoot through it, and it
That
doesn't matter.
almost has full-length rails. They're sevens.
Yeah, and it's definitely a very classic tractor beam railgun. So now Immortal has to tilt his left side to be further away, but can't overdo it, otherwise Blaze will just fire through the left side and only go through like one shield or such. So it's a very delicate balance where you want to cover the side, excellently done, but not overturn, while simultaneously always playing keep away from the tractor beam ship so that it doesn't get free shots on you.
Oh, here might be a chance down the middle. And
Oof.
that managed to avoid a reactor.
That wasn't critical damage, but losing the large shield is going to put him back a lot.
I think that was kind of purposeful because in the middle there was all that armor.
Maybe? Going for a large shield is definitely going to be a more consistent option, but it comes at the cost of not dealing as much damage. But now Immortal is in a bad position because he has to use the side shields to block his center.
Also, one thing is if he gets a angled hit on him, he's not going to use his armor to protect his reactor,
Yeah.
such as could be happening right here. Oh, this is very bad. Whoa,
Whoa.
nothing blue?
Somehow misses all of the potential shots from the perfect launch position.
That could have taken out two reactors.
That could have won the
And
game instantly. Blaze really should have fired at the rear thrusters.
you taking out a thruster pack throws off pretty much any movement and potentially control. I don't think it ruined control, but it put him in that position where he's getting closer to losing control.
Yeah, it's once you lose a thruster setup in this matchup, you can't win because you need it to resist the tractor beams, and then it'll just like throw you around. So Immortal not moving right now. Blaze firing at the left side, not sure why when the center is already weaker. And the longer Blaze takes to do damage, the harder time he's gonna have, because once rails start getting shut offline or destroyed, then it's much harder to break through the shields.
Seems like another somehow not doing anything. All the shields are down though, but that armor managed to hold it off.
Yes, and he lost the large shield as well, so it's looking worse and worse.
Blaze doesn't seem to have any serious damage.
Immortal needs to rotate a lot faster there, and is going to be rotated. See if he can over rotation.
One issue with being at that angle is a lot of his weapons are clipping on each other.
Yes, that's an issue of like if you want to protect your segments, you have to rotate really sharply, which makes it so that your weapons have a lot reduced effectiveness. The other issue is that Blaze can just rotate more, and suddenly there's all that armor in the way and you can't target the weapons anymore.
All the shields are down on that side.
Fortunately, the shields seem to be holding up when they're fired at, but it's going to be a very rough ride for Immortal if he's going to call his way back.
one more good hit on that side piece, and it's
Oof.
some. That is a. I don't know why those shots are missing. Maybe he's not aiming. Maybe he's trying to aim at something behind to get that more precise shot instead of a broad shot on a reactor.
I would guess that he's maybe trying to get the control rooms, but that's the strangest thing. Like, he can aim anywhere and deal lethal damage, but he hasn't.
Yeah, he's gonna win regardless. But
Probably, but it definitely could have been sooner by a large factor, I would say.
there he
These,
didn't have. I think he might have clipped on himself or something
these are
from
just some
turning
of
too
the
quickly.
worst, unluckiest shots I've seen in some time.
Also, note that Blaze's barrel has a little diamond pieces in them, so if he turns too quickly, he is almost certainly going to be having his own rails hit his armor.
It hasn't seemed like that's been an issue yet.
The shot before this one, I think a couple of them got caught on it, but it's not changing anything.
Yeah, Immortal recognizes it and forfeits. Both of these ships seem to have no, Plouse does not have adequate defenses in between launchers, but has more. Whereas Lunastro has less, but has armor between all of them, so there's going to be less chaining. So I would say Plouse is more of a glass cannon, but is more of a cannon. This analogy is falling apart. That's already damage to Plouse's rear. That's not great. Both of these are very similar designs. I would say that this is the most common archetype of like a single line of huge thrusters and then small shields on the front. Small shields are actually surprisingly tanky, at times more so than large shields because you can just stack them so well.
Big hit. That was a big hit. One thing to note is Lunastro is firing all of his missiles in groupings instead of letting them come out one by one, versus
Yeah,
Plouse is letting them go. And firing them in a grouping is what caused that giant hit against Plouse.
it could just be better logistics as well that makes them last longer in concentrated areas. That's the supply line, but that won't matter since the missiles were gone anyways. So let's see, I think Plouse is going to take more damage. Yep, and then there's a fire as well. The Lunastro seems to have this pretty cut and dry.
Even the front armor is taking big hits on Plouse.
Those shields are starting to be stressed, which is never a good sign. Volley's gonna hurt. Yeah, those like hammer strikes of consistent missiles. All the supply lines were cut, so now the missiles are very limited for Plouse.
Actually, looking at the missile modules, and it seemed they have very, very similar missile modules. In fact, I would say not quite identical, but practically identical.
Well, Lunastro's either microing their missiles a lot better or has better crew setups to make them more consistent.
They're holding fire. I just looking at it, I can tell that they hold fire a little bit to let them
Yes.
build up.
So the reason you want to do this is it makes it so that the missiles are more bursty and concentrated, so that when they hit really hard rather than just like kind of scattering across the opponent's front. This
That's
is gonna hurt.
particularly important for the shields. Oh, all those thrusters are down, but
Yeah,
yeah,
almost
that
got the control.
almost down, and the reason that is because of the grouping that made the shields ineffective.
Yeah, it's definitely tuned properly to be able to take on missile orbiters. Disconnected the armor, so one can presumably aim a lot better. The Scion is the cover ship of the tournament. Thumbnail. Painted by me. It was the reward Lunastro got for placing second in the last tournament. Or third in the last tournament. So nicely done. And Lunastro is probably going to be wanting to orbit, as you know, this ship is tuned to do, and just drill through the front while tanking missiles on the corners and shields. Unless Plaus overturns, in which case Lunastro can just jump on top of him and get through the sides.
Oh, that's looking deadly. Though not too significant, but there's some internal fires.
Yeah, and if that occurs again, then Lunastro is just going to be able to cut the supply lines. Is running out of rear armor though, and side armor is getting thinner. So there
And
is...
once engines die, it's gonna severely affect Luna's ability to fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. I don't think that Klaus can get out of this though, and that control room is looking like it's gonna get crispy.
He doesn't even have his thrusters online properly. That's looking like game right there. Yep.
And
He's running with pretty much no armor and a lot of shields.
pretty good as long as you can maintain the energy, but I'm pretty sure if you stretch those shields enough, the ships will stop functioning.
So I feel like this matchup isn't the best against missiles to have no real armor whatsoever at the back.
Yeah, because like if they miss the shields at all, then you just die, and once the shields are down, then you're in a way...
I have a feeling we're already about to see one die when that bunching of missiles returns.
Almost. And that initial
Yeah.
volley. It has to dodge or turn to dodge this next one. And just to dodge it, it might hit the other one. Oh, shots fired yet.
Lost a significant amount of thrusters on that.
So this is unfortunate because now Menti is, accidentally manages to bungle the approach and unfortunately does not line up the shots. Well,
Oh, there are some big hits.
there we go.
Taking out one module.
There's damage. The other ship
If he can
comes
stay
back.
like that,
This is ideal.
this could be big. That missed the factory on that last barrage though, and that's gonna hurt.
Ideally, Juno would have both ships on either side so that Mint can't just turn and hide from both of them like what occurred here.
One ship lost a deck cannon.
Using the boost very liberally, it's very difficult to control these ships. So.
Another factory bunch gone. And I believe another factory on fire.
So at this rate, I think Juno would probably be best served by retreating, because that bottom ship's about to die, and the fires might take out Minty more. And I doubt you're going to be able to get to both control rooms with your current arrangement, with one's current arrangement.
Even if the factories do die, I don't know if there's enough ammo left in that one ship to kill Mint. So I think it's kind of over now.
Well, the fires may not go out. So Mint is, I'm pretty sure, presumably, yeah, has 12 fire extinguishers, so...
For some reason, the fire extinguishers aren't getting used because those fires started small and now they're pretty
Oof.
big.
You're gonna get stuck on a rock.
Priorities are meaning that those fire extinguishers are not used. Mint might want to pay attention to that when editing their ship.
Struggling to control their ship. How quickly you can rotate with the boost thrusters is very difficult to react to if you're using direct control. I often turn on boost and then do RTS controls so that my ship can automatically take care of it. Unfortunately, that ammo is effectively being wasted, for lack of a better word. It's just gonna bounce off the front and there's never gonna be any breach behind it. Fire on Juno's ship now. So, see how Mint responds.
That does not get the kill shot that was needed. That should be the end of it pretty quickly.
And that's the majority of the firepower already gone.
Can't penetrate the shields anymore.
Managed to get a third of the ship. Has one rail to win with. So yeah, like already we're seeing that Juno is going to be on both sides, and like even from a front attack, I think that those ships could get through the small shields.
Oh,
That's...
this could be.
Oh, man.
Did not do anything
Oh.
significant though. That wasn't the hit it needed to be. If that almost took out the control room, and that would have changed this game a lot.
Um, that's one ship down.
Ooh.
Has to get around.
He takes one good hit, and that.
That was a good shot from the side. Juno has, if they can get stuck in the right position, then this is winnable, I would say. This is gonna be awful. Oh.
Yeah, right to the side.
Yeah, this is an issue. Nug's ship, which is based off of Quix's, as you can see from the name, it has a huge amount of thrust, and that thrust is typically enough to completely ignore tractor beam. So Hero is gonna have a rough time trying to flip Nug unless it just works out on the first try.
Oh, but he doesn't
Oh, he didn't
shoot.
fire. Oh, that hurts. That hurts a lot.
That would have been a good side shot.
I don't think it would have been lethal, but it would have been very painful.
It would have set up for the next attempt to do something.
And the reason that first turn worked so was because Hero used all of Nug's momentum against him. And I just don't think that's going to happen here when Nug is moving so relatively slowly. So this could be a good flip if Hero re-aims the tractor beams. Hero is doing an excellent job piloting this ship, I do have to say. But I would say he needs to start going to the corners or something, because getting the flip is just not likely to happen. Like, as you can see, once Nug, like, outbalances the tractor beams, can then just push through them.
You see Nug using the tactic of aiming at someone's surface instead of their core. So
Yeah,
he managed to dive down a barrel.
because you're focusing on breaching the armor, not necessarily dealing damage. Oh, oh, oh! Dag, nabbit! That was
That could have
so
been
close.
very destructive.
I think that they were aiming for the control room. I'm not sure what went wrong there.
If that took out the reactor, that would be a serious thrust loss. Thrust loss.
Yeah,
Maybe a side.
Nug is approaching very aggressively, which means that he's liable to like bounce off whenever he gets close.
One thing I noticed new players struggle with is weapon management.
Well, yeah, tractor beam rail fans are one of the hardest to manage ships because you have to aim the tractor beams, flip the tractor beams from push to pull, reset rail alignments so you don't fire at the wrong time, and then put them back on to firing. So that's like 4 different things plus piloting. It's very ambitious for a quote-unquote new player. I don't necessarily know if they're new to be using it. It's impressive in its own right that they got potential for those shots.
Yeah. I was very excited to see an upset battle, but now it's looking like that's a little late.
Not out of it yet. It's looking worse and worse, but it's not out of it yet because all the tractor beams still seem to be online, albeit running out of power.
I believe that tractor beam. That one took a big hit earlier. Yeah, it doesn't have power because it lost the corridor behind it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, 5 is still pretty good, as you can see here. Fortunately, when you push so hard against a heavier object, you just push yourself, and when you're so far away, it makes it so that you can't really keep applying the additional force that you get from being close.
I wonder if what's his name? I wonder if Hero would be better off having just instead of all this wrestling to just shoot for the front reactors. There's only what 5 layers of armor.
Yeah, the shields are hell to get through though. Like that looks it's shockingly tanky for how thin it looks. Because like all the time that you get through the armor, you have to get through the shields, and then the shields just come back up. So it's like 3 times as strong as just regular shields and armor when you stack them like that.
Here's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's
There's
a very
limited
prevalent
ammo.
pattern for an obvious reason of it just being very, very...
Actually, how's the ammo on these people?
Helgi is almost out of ammo.
Yeah, Hero has plenty, but I mean he only has 1 gun.
Nug is out of
But
ammo. If Nug runs out of ammo, then Hero can just, like, push around and make it a rod fight. Nug has not been thrifty with his shots.
oh, but almost dealt a very devastating blow there. Somehow managing just a very exposed control room, a
Nug's,
very damaged reactor going on.
Nug is playing it real risky right here. No ammo anymore, so he has to get back. I hope he recognizes, because he might not.
I think it's just a rod Russell, and I
Well, like,
think.
he has more thrusters than Hero, so he just needs to retreat and then he wins.
Oh, Hero selects to self-destruct.
No, he's running out of health, I think.
Oh, that might be it.
So we saw Nug ship, and we're going to look at Hungry Lions, which is actually 6 ships in one ship.
They're using small reactors, which is.
So yeah, because it's 6 ships. That's, like, it's currently connected, but that can split into 6 different entities. And I expect that will be completely necessary to win against Nug. Those nukes.
I was saying that maybe that could have been better with medium reactors, but I guess maybe they didn't need the full cost and saved on crew by having the spacing.
They're doing excellently thus far, though. Those nukes were almost arced around into the reactor. And an issue here is that if they just do trading blows, then Hero, since his deck cleanses are closer, will be more accurate. And if they get the one control room, then he wins. Whereas Nug has to kill, like, at minimum 4 of these.
Yeah, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 control rooms. And just as many reactors.
The issue is logistics at this point. Choosing to split, interesting timing. But as you can see now, it's a problem. I don't think that Nug might not have seen the explosive charges and is now trying to figure out what to do.
I have a feeling that might have not been the best because of Nug's speed. He can ram one way out of the way.
They were getting behind him. You only need a few good shots, so he needs to approach from different angles, though. Like, currently, they're all just kind of chasing him, and Nug is doing a good job of making sure to go in a circle. But once he gets behind him, he's gonna have a problem.
Yeah, but it seems like the speed Nug has is.
Here's an option.
There's one nuke ship that's kind of behind.
I love the splitting ship. It's very cool, though. Trying to body block, perhaps? Fortunately, the cannons still fail to reach in time. I know for sure that it's very difficult controlling all of these ships effectively and trying to get them behind Nug. Unfortunately, is bleeding out ships.
Yeah, there's looking to be the end of it. It's 2 left. Technically 3 left, but
The third one can't really move. It had its thrusters cut off. Oops.
And it's on fire.
Oh, those weren't gonna hit, but it still hurts to see.
It's the duel 1 versus 1 now.
So the other one comes back anyway. Oops. Excellent dodge. Yeah, Nug just needs to, like, ram one. Like, focus on it and then it's gonna be over. Because, like, one of them by itself can't. Unless he gets stuck on the rock. What is this?
That one is completely stuck.
Nug, if you get stuck on the rock, I'm going to cry. No, Nug appears to be fine. And the nuke ship is largely out of ammo. Unfortunately, the issue with using small reactors and multiple ships is that they're less efficient. You get less bang for your buck at the cost of having more ships. For the benefit of having more ships. So, Cool Gamer Tag ship is more interesting, or more unique, in that it has less thrusters and it has more rails with no shields. Osmus has a more traditional arrangement, but is actually kind of similar in that it focuses on having more firepower.
Getting that first hit was brutal.
Yeah, the one of the defining factors of these ships is that they're very fragile from just head on. So getting a first pot shot like that is very good. That's a massive problem. If he shoots through that corner again, he's gonna be losing that reactor very quickly.
There's a big fire in Newsmith, but I don't think it'll change much.
Narrowly misses the bridge. So Nesmith has to focus very much on remaining tilted. Ideally, you want your opponent firing into your corners, your corner armor. And Cool Gamer Tag is not doing a good job of making sure it's the right corner. It's more so like the edges of his ship where the corner stops, which is not what you want your opponent to be firing at. Because they get really close to the reactor like that.
Ooh. That might land on the next one.
Nesmith wasn't using those TB rails. Tractor beams anyways. Yeah, Cool Gamer Tag's corners are both very damaged.
And he's up against a rock. But that's...
Oh!
Eh.
This is the control room again.
Yeah, but he's completely carved out like a lot of...
Yeah,
Newsmith.
losing so much of Nesmith's damage so early on was brutal. And it's only
And
getting
now
worse.
pretty much. There's only 3 left. 3 left, some fires inside.
Cool Gamer Tag reveals his corner again, unfortunately not punishable.
If he had a full fan, that would have done something, but...
Yeah, if this would have gone very differently, I think, if not for that first shot. And
now
that's
there's
no more
nobody else
firepower
left.
from Nesmith.
That's pretty much game unless somehow there's some miracle of a pushing match.
Yeah, 98% versus 52. Oh my.
And the control room's on fire with no... Wait, no, there is a fire extinguisher right next to it. But no.
Well, you only need one good flip, and Nesmith is experienced enough that I think that he would not, fortunately, fail. Dodges the deck cannon shots. Very impressive. Needs to get Cool Gamer Tag away from him, though. Those are great shots for the rails.
That's almost to the control room.
And that's a good flip. Go Nesmith. Breaks through the armor. This is another example of where you want to aim at armor. Like, going for the reactor is tempting, but you want to aim at the armor so that it at least shreds the insides.
Another big hit to the front.
Yeah, Cool Gamer Tag I think has a lot less mass on this ship, so it's not as good as good at resisting the tractor beam effects through inertia.
Yeah, it's shield based.
Yeah, Nesmith's ship is very heavy as well, so it seems to be able to impart more force, or be the anchor as opposed to being the one that's pushed away. Oh. Nesmith's re-aiming.
Power issues in all the rails.
Yeah, unfortunately, logistics for TB rails are very difficult to set up, so if you don't have it like perfectly set up, then you're gonna have problems.
One thing I note is because the tractor beams are stronger when you're near, and deck cannons kind of rely on a ramming scenario, it does give Newsmith a little bit of a advantage there.
Yeah, he is doing a very good job at tanking it on his corners as well. It's something that he's proving to be adept at, or just outright dodging through Cool Gamer Tag, preemptively firing or such. That's a good shot on the control room. Oof.
Okay.
Retargeted mid-shot, I think. See what I mean about the shields and armor being really strong? Like, if you're a new player and you want to have a very durable ship, do that.
Almost breaking into some of the railguns. Barely didn't destroy them.
Nesmith also drilling a hole in Cool Gamer Tag's side. Both of those are technically vulnerable now.
Another miss.
There's no way that can survive from that angle again.
Maybe it'd be better off aiming for the armor level, so when the rails fire, they all hit the armor in the same place. I've
Yeah,
never used rails that much though, so
that's actually what you kind of want to be doing when your opponent has thick side armor. It's damage on the bridge. It's lost roughly a fourth of its health, maybe a fifth. So there is like a large gap in front of it.
and shooting for that corner again.
Yeah, it's like if you make holes in the armor, that's technically as valuable because now your opponent is forced to hide it. Oh,
Oh, that could have done something serious to the underside.
does manage to effectively knock out a deck cannon though, because it won't have ammo from now on. It caused a fire in a different room.
It's going
And
to limit
no,
crew to one of the thruster groups because crew are having to walk against the walkways to get to the thruster.
ripping apart the side armor unfortunately cannot do anything to get behind it. Fortunately, the logistics issues are gone. Fires too early, should have held fire to aim at the rear reactor or such. It's stuck on the
Well,
rock.
you might have to worry about ammo sometime soon.
Oh,
Looking
it's
at
it.
the amp,
Oof. That's a lot amount of thrust that was just removed.
and there's some fires that I believe there's only what three functioning deck cannons now. One.
Well, they all have like 2 shots left, residual shots from just ammo stored within the deck cannon itself. More damage on the control room, roughly half its health now. No shields on in front of it.
Oh, that could have been bad. Now let's see if the ammo runs out though, because
I don't think it's gonna run out. I'll check when the fight's over. More
gosh,
damage. Surprisingly tanky, this control room. No shields in front of it right now, though. As you can see, lowered thrust massively reduces its ability to deal with the tractor beams.
Newsmith is on his last bits of ammo, but even if it comes to a pushing match or something, I think he's still got this.
Yeah, tractor beams are lethal in pushing matches because you can just push your opponent away.
Oh, that's getting so close on the front.
Barely holding on.
Just a sliver.
The rock actually saves him from being tilted further at that point. And that is it. Aaron needs to shoot off the hooks first and foremost, I would say.
He seems kind of where he's aiming, maybe? Oh, that was a devastating hit.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aaron is not committing, and even though those are far more reactive in terms of thrusters, they still need to ramp up, and you need to continue with momentum. So this
He
is
is.
what happens when you don't have the avoiding necessary. It's not over yet. Kine's now just stuck on this rock, probably.
Oh, if he can get out of there and get behind him. No, that part's dead.
I don't think it's gonna occur. Yes, this is a great example of why hooks are a fantastic option for ramming of any kind, is that they just completely block your opponent. So let's see, Aaron needs to be strafing, having sideways moment. They don't get like that.
Ooh,
Oh,
that was brutal.
Kine rips Aaron apart.
That was quick.
That
Flung
was
all
the
those nukes
fastest
in.
match. So it's Taiga the classic. It even has a deck cannon, but it uses nukes. Okay, okay, this is interesting. The nukes can just sail through all the armor.
Yeah.
So let's see if Space Cat has aiming on or is setting those nukes to fire at will.
So Nick has nukes along the back
You think
of his.
Space Cat will be capable of dodging those? The issue is that the logistics for that ship are typically kind of bad, so you're just going to run out of thrust after a certain point. For bad rail shots, they didn't do anything.
Maybe some decent side damage and
Oh,
follow-up.
it might cut off the nukes. No, it has a structure lattice in the back. Yeah, this is
Just
definitely what Space Cat wants to be, like, constantly in the way. Although the flak is actually chewing through it, and it target the control room. It's
what
targeting the
that flag is.
reactor.
That whoa! What? That was.
Nice. Nice.
I didn't know the flak would cut through that quickly.
Flak, that was impressive. I didn't know it did that much damage.